So if you had to talk about where alpha could be generated, what could be those themes?
You want entrepreneur who has vision, execution, and governance. These are the three primary things to look after in entrepreneur.
So there's constant noise about the stock market. That is all unorganized. So how would you advise they ignore all of that?
At least I have to ask basic questions. What is the PE ratio? What is the growth story? What is the valuation? There are about 35 crore vehicle owners who could potentially be my customer. तो 5 करोड़ से 35 करोड़ तो मुझे आज पहुंचना चाहिए था. मैं 5 साल में भी पहुंच पाऊंगा मुझे नहीं पता.
In the next 5-7 years, how would things be different from Kotak Mutual Fund?
You will just open a chat box and say, hey, I want to plan the future of my kid with this kind of risk profile and this kind of time horizon. Give me the best solution.
From the bustling floor of the Bombay Stock Exchange to the policy-making corridors of the Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council, our guest today is someone who's not just watched India's capital markets evolve, he's actually been instrumental in shaping their direction. He's a market veteran with over 3 decades of experience, a trusted voice for investors, and a storyteller who makes even the most complex financial concepts sound simple. Joining us today on the Alpha Angle, a special series by Angel One in association with Mint, is Mr. Nilesh Shah, Managing Director of Kotak Mahindra Asset Management Company Limited. Nilesh, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's my pleasure, Mobina.
So, I think your story is very well known. It's been an inspiring journey, almost like a phoenix rising from the ashes. Started off in a chawl and you had this inspiring journey right to the top of corporate boardrooms. What I want to know is that how has this entire journey inspired your own attitude, your own decisions when it came to money?
So one, I realized the value of money at an early age. So I've always valued it. Second, I have realized that I have reached here because so many people supported me. And which is where I have tried as much as possible to give it back. Now, obviously, I'm not a sun that I can dispel all the darkness. But in a limited way, I can lit a candle. Third, it has also motivated me far more that can I secure financial security for my investors. So value of money I have realized, and I have also realized how important it could be in someone else's life. Money can't buy everything. Of course, yes. But if you have money in your pocket, you can buy many things.
Yeah, that's true. Is there any one particular point in your life? I know it's not always easy to nail everything down to one defining moment. But if there were a series of moments which made you think when you were younger that, okay, yes, I want to pursue something in finance, in markets.
So for me, finance happened by luck. I was selected in a manufacturing company job, and the senior person in that company told me that you should try your luck in financial market. I kept his appointment on hold and went to try my luck in financial market. But then I went to work in ICICI, where I saw very, very smart people, my senior colleagues, my peers, working in the field of finance. And then you started learning the tricks of the trade. Once you are in this Chakravyu, it's difficult to get out.
You know, you wear so many hats, right? You're an investor, you have influenced policy-making decisions. And like I mentioned in my introduction as well, in a way, you have not just been a part of the evolution of financial markets, but you've actually sort of paved the way as well as financial markets have evolved. When you look at the way India is right now, what exactly, and you're known as an eternal optimist as well when it comes to the markets, What always gives you that conviction that even from here on, there's something amazing in store for people who are investing in India?
So it's not that India has not been through tough times. We have seen invasions, colonization, natural calamities. But we have kept on growing as a country. For 1800 years of this millennium, we were one of the topmost economy. 200 years colonization has pushed us back, but where we are climbing back to be where we were. So there's something in India, something in this land which does not allow us to fall behind for long. We just keep on rising.
Okay, I think that's something that's so encouraging as well to hear, right? Because when you're putting your faith in the country at large, it makes you feel that this sense of participation in the larger cause of things. Because like you mentioned, it's not like it's been easy for us. We've had our fair share of struggles, but somewhere the Indian story has been resilient. There has been a bit of a dip, but it's been rising. And I think for each individual to think that they're participating in that as well is something that's very encouraging. To talk about the next decade, if you had to pinpoint on where alpha could be generated, the show is Alpha Angle. So if you had to talk about where alpha could be generated, what could be those themes?
So essentially, Mubina, you are betting upon entrepreneur. You want entrepreneur who has vision, who will execute these things on ground, and who will have governance so that when he executes and benefits, it is shared with everyone equally. So vision, execution, and governance, these are the three primary things to look after in entrepreneur. Now, in terms of business segments which will do well, one obviously is technology. How many companies will be able to master this ride of technology? Artificial intelligence, robotics, machine learning, these are now no longer science fiction. They are real life. Things will change dramatically. So effectively, anyone who is able to leverage technology to deliver cheaper, better, faster solution to the customer will be a winner.
Across any sector.
Across any sector. You have to be better than your peer. And how will you become? By leveraging technology. In terms of sectors, there will be winners and losers. Some of these sectors, like let's say, for example, healthcare, well, there could be huge opportunities on medical tourism. World is aging. Cost of Medicare is rising rapidly and it is unfunded. And people will prefer cheaper, better solutions. Indian doctors are globally known for their quality. Our hospitals today can provide far better service at much cheaper cost and more importantly, promptly. So healthcare could be one sector which can do very well over a period of time. So I don't think so in a rising tide, any sector will do very badly unless until there's something fundamentally wrong. But what will be important is, are you picking the right entrepreneur within that sector?
So you would look at who is running the business,
Absolutely.
not exactly the sector. What we say, management quality, as opposed to the industry at large.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. We often say, and you often say, that markets are the best teacher. You yourself have learned quite a few lessons from Mr. Market, as you often refer to it as. There are booms, there are busts, cycles go on and off. Regardless of that, there are still investors who tend to forget lessons, even though these are timeless. So what are some of these lessons that investors tend to forget and that you feel like you're constantly reminding them again and again about?
So essentially, we are supposed to take decisions rationally. We end up taking emotionally. We all have the habit of cleaning mirror rather than cleaning the face. And these emotions come based on greed and fear. Now precious metals are running very fast. Surely it's going to create greed among investors. equity market last year had created that greed. Today, some equity is creating fear. So the day we can take decisions based on rational thoughts rather than emotional thoughts, I think we'll reach equilibrium.
But how do you separate that? Because see, it's everybody's hard-earned money. So naturally emotions are involved. You know, when you clock in those late hours, you're bringing home the money and then you put it aside to invest in the market. So it's very difficult to separate it. So how did you do that? Especially in, you know, when you started off?
So one, I have made the mistakes and learned from it. I have tried as much as possible not to repeat them. But today I can say that instead of making mistake and learning from it, it's better to learn from someone else's mistake. It is much, much cheaper. Second, you try to develop mindset about looking at data rather than noise. Companies' fundamentals don't change overnight. It takes years to change. But prices fluctuate every day. So there is technical factors like sentiment, there's flow, which impact prices materially. So you try to look at the broad picture based on data and then try to stay alert. Sometimes experience does help. Like we were invested in we were running a mid-cap fund and we stayed away from a company which we didn't understand. Now, for 1 year, it gave us a lot of pain because it was part of benchmark index, went from 1% to 4%. Not investing in that company resulted into underperformance. Every time investor asked, why were you underperforming benchmark index? It was not an easy question to answer. But we were convinced that we will not invest unless until we understand about the underlying. Today, that decision worked out very well because stock is down 90% from top. So sometimes you have to take decision based on data rather than emotions. Even if there is a cost attached to it, eventually it will work out.
Now, here's where the difference is. You know, you've, of course, got more than 3 decades of experience. You have a team that's, you know, giving you a well-researched data. You look at the data, you analyze it, and then you understand. Now, when you look at retail investors, they have WhatsApp tips, they have Telegram, they have, you know, tweets on X, and this sometimes tends to be, or, you know, neighbors talking about something, colleagues talking about, you know, a hot tip or a stock. So there's constant noise about the stock market. That is all unorganized. So how should, you know, how would you advise they ignore all of that and just stay the course the way you did?
No. So I have made my mistakes. I have lost money.
The way you are now.
And then I learned from it that
Yes.
other than my parents, no one is interested in my financial well-being. See, greed is inherent in human nature. I am also greedy, no doubt about it. But I have to differentiate facts with fiction. Now, if someone who is not part of market is telling me to buy, at least I have to ask basic questions. What is the PE ratio? What is the growth story? What is the valuation? And so on and so forth. Second, if someone who is part of market gives you, you ask him like how much you have invested.
Good question.
Is he reliable? Is he trying to lure you? In most of the Ponzi scheme, the sellers is not someone outsider. It is someone whom you knew. And yet they went and distributed some kachara product to you. So always ask question. When you ask questions, you will automatically get the clarification. It is as simple as having a fruit and a burger and asking yourself which one is more healthy for you. 9 out of 10, it will be fruit. 1 out of 10% may say burger, but fair enough, 9 out of 10, you're right. That's a good strike rate.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And stay away from the person who's suggesting the word.
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah. I think this is a very fair point that even if somebody does recommend something, counter question it. Don't just take it at face value.
Absolutely.
As we call it. Okay. You know, under your leadership at Kotak Mutual Fund, it has grown to be one of the most trusted fund houses. How do you see the role of mutual fund houses essentially evolving over the next decade? These last few years have seen a change in the entire industry. What do you foresee say, over the next 5 to 10 years for mutual funds?
So when I started my career in mutual fund industry, we had collected about 35 crore in my first fund. And when we were going out to market that, in many places we were thrown out saying that, "Kyo mutual fund wale bhago yahan se." This was primarily on the experience of a fund launched in early 90s where investors had a very bad experience. From there, we have come to a level where today, despite giving negative return to investors, despite going wrong on markets many a times, people don't doubt our intention. They could be unhappy with our outcome, but they don't doubt our intention that we are misdirecting them. So there's a credibility or a brand built over last 3 years, 3 decades effort by so many people, right from Navneet, Bala, Nimesh, Sandeep Sikka. So many people have come together to build this industry. We have to carry this forward. Total investors in India in mutual fund is 5.5 crore. The total money invested in mutual fund will be about 25 lakh or 30 lakh crore, which has grown to 77 lakh crore on a mark-to-market basis. So I still have to go and convince people, and so many crore of people, that घर पे आप पैसे रखेंगे तो जाड़ नहीं उगेगा पैसों का, वो तो डिस्ट्रॉय होने वाला है, दिमक लगने वाली है. प्लीज कम एंड इन्वेस्ट इन म्यूचुअल फंड. हो सकता है 1-2 साल हम नेगेटिव रिटर्न भी देंगे, बट इवेंचुअली उसके ऊपर पैसा बना के दे देंगे. सो वी हैव टू डू एवरीथिंग पॉसिबल to ensure that this trust and confidence remains in our industry.
So you mentioned 5.5 odd crore. So we have a long way to go.
There are about 35 crore vehicle owners who could potentially be my customer. तो 5 करोड़ से 35 करोड़ तो मुझे आज पहुंचना चाहिए था. मैं 5 साल में भी पहुंच पाऊंगा मुझे नहीं पता.
Yeah. All right. Okay. How do you see, and in a way, even in participation, things like AI data, personalization, you mentioned it more from the business point of view, that how an entrepreneur today would be leveraging that. But I would like to see how you would be leveraging that at Kotak Mutual Fund, because there are you threw a straight away good data point that 35 crore are vehicle owners. Yeah. So actually they should be the ones who should be investing in markets. So all of this data, how are you sort of leveraging it, using it to enhance Kotak MF's product and service offerings, to enhance your own operations as well?
So there are multiple things which we are doing. And this is the race where you don't want to fall behind. You don't want to lead also, because it will require enormous capital, but you don't want to fall behind. Our focus first is on content creation. Can I deliver content across multiple formats in a manner where it can connect with the recipient? Today we are able to build cohorts of people who will be interested in, let's say, receiving hybrid fund communication, SWP communication, SIP communication, precious metal communication, and so on and so forth. How do I measure it? What is the strike rate of opening? If my opening rate of email or a communication keeps on increasing, that means I am in the right direction. Apart from content, the second thing is in terms of servicing. Now, fortunately, in mutual fund, investor complaints are far, far lower. But whenever a person complains, we need to answer. And most of our answers are generic in nature. We are now leveraging AI to ensure if we can deliver customized answers, a more appropriate answer which can satisfy customer at one go, and his experience or her experience becomes better. The third is managing our own emotions. All fund managers are emotional. We tell people to take rational decisions, but we also have our own emotions. So using quant and AI, how do I ensure that their emotions are in check? How can I create rule-based investing, model-based investing, quant-based investing, which will then help my fund managers to maintain their emotions? So there are multiple things at play. Whatever I do today, tomorrow I'll have to do something more. So this is the race where you don't want to quit and you don't want to fall behind.
3 decades at Kotak MF. Has the pace at which you've had to change in the last 5 years been faster? Because it's been very rapid, right from the number of demat accounts being added or the number of MF folios being added to, of course, the adoption of technology. So would you say that the things that have happened in the last 5 to 7 years have been way, way more than what must have happened, in the last 30 odd years?
So undoubtedly, the pace has increased. Earlier, the treadmill was running at 3 kilometers. Now it is running at 10 kilometers, and tomorrow it's going to go at 15 kilometers. Yeah. So there's no option but to run faster and faster. More importantly, we were all used to playing a cricket in a certain manner, on a certain pitch. Now the rules of games are changing. The pace has increased, the complexity has increased. We can't be complacent. So no matter what we have achieved in the past, we have to be paranoid. Tomorrow is a different day, and I have to deliver tomorrow as well. So paranoid will survive.
If I had to ask you that, in the next 5-7 years, how would things be different from Kotak Mutual Fund? In fact, let's consider it as I, as a retail investor, let's say maybe for my child who will probably be, she will be 10 years old and she may want to start investing for her. How would her onboarding or application process with Kotak MF be different from, what's like what
so
it is?
This is my wish list. I don't know whether it will materialize or not. But probably you will just open a chat box and say, hey, I want to plan the future of my kid with this kind of risk profile and this kind of time horizon. Give me the best solution. And I just want one scheme, only quarterly review, no, unnecessary spam calls, spam email. And you will be given a solution, let's say, Kotak Multi-Asset Allocation Fund of Fund, which not only invests in Kotak mutual fund schemes, but also outside world. It aligns perfectly with your objective. So if you're conservative, it will build conservative portfolio. If you're aggressive, it will build aggressive portfolio. If you're short-term horizon, it will build short-term horizon. If you want long-term horizon, it will take long-term investing. So one-stop solution available at the voice command of yours.
Wow. That sounds very interesting. KYC, of course, will have to be done.
Hopefully that also would have sorted out by then.
All right. Okay. Super. But I look forward to really, glancing into the future and seeing that future unfold. Thank you once again, Nilesh, for joining. From his personal life story and taking lessons away from them, what really stands out about Mr. Shah is his own sheer conviction in the Indian market story. And that's the reason why, for all you viewers, what should matter is the focus on your own mindset and just trust the process. That brings us to the end of yet another episode of Alpha Angle, brought to you by Angel One in association with Mint. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back with yet another voice shaping the Indian financial landscape.
Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.